Okay. All right. Well, yesterday was interesting. I'm anxious um, to continue processing it as we see the market open. What do we see right now off the bat? We see struggling in the small caps, and we see oil continuing. So, the oil yesterday, I was like, that's not that bad. Not yet. But, all right, let's get cracking. We're at time. Everyone else will catch up. Good morning and welcome everyone to the Market Watch Group Midweek Check-In. I'm Scott. Here are our disclaimers. This is for education illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give advice or recommendations, yada, yada. Today should be interesting as we revisit our market posture to see, Monday we had good volume and Tuesday we had bad volume. Monday we advanced. Tuesday we regressed. And where does it leave us? So these next couple of days are going to be important days, but it's interesting because I'm looking at it like I still see setups. I don't see that. I don't, they're like, oh, they shot 100 missiles, but the attack failed. Did it fail? Is that what we're all saying? It failed? They shot 100 missiles, or there was maybe they're going to shoot some missiles at some things that are not really, even if they hit them. And, there's probably hey, just so y'all know, we're going to shoot these missiles. And somehow nothing happened. Now everything's good. So, I don't know. The market didn't seem to respond in a way where it's like, oh man, this is bad. They responded. It was like, and then we'll see today. That's where I'm at. What do you guys think? Am I underplaying it? We know the market's always going to have its reactions. Is it worse than it seems, or is it going to be okay? That's what I want to hear from you guys. I personally, at least initially. Now, obviously, things can escalate at any time, and at that point, we need to reevaluate. Is it starting? But I'm leaning towards we're gonna shake it off. It was a little saber rattling. Right. Anyway. Let's keep going. But we'll look at the posture. We'll look at mindset for trades. So, yeah, you might have trades that got a little shook. So that's the second thing that you're thinking about. What am I doing if I got a little shook? Am I panicking, closing trades? Am I thinking I'm okay, haven't broken support? Certainly you're not happy when trades go against you because of geopolitical news. But it happens. I mean, that's a regular part of what we deal with. So the question is, how do we then go forward with it? Yeah, okay. That's where our posture should help. If I was a 2 or a 1 and this happened, I'd be like, oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna just sit back and spectate for a little bit. If I was negative, I'd be thinking, yeah, this is gonna kick another leg in. Let's get some puts on. But I'm not. I'm bullish. Sandy said got stopped out. Okay. If you took some losses, hopefully they were small. If you held, I held a couple that got right around their stop level where, again, if my posture was lower, stopped out. I'm done. But I'm not putting hard stops on as much right now. I'm watching. I'm putting alerts so that I can be like, yeah, do I want to? We know that holding through the hiccup has been paying off for the most part when you're taking early entries. So, Bob says, I'm with you, Scott. Times did an article the day before that said Iran wasn't responding because it would show how weak they are. Yeah, they're not interested. I mean, it's, you know, I don't think. We'll see. All right, let's get to it. We'll look at some setups. We'll look at some setups. We'll talk about the trading plan section. Okay, so let's just start right here. Boom. This is the SPY. That's S&P 500. If all I did was say, hey, here's a chart. Look at this chart. What do you see? What do you think? Would you be like, oh my God, there was some really crazy news that just came out. This thing looks like it's about to fall apart. I'd be like, really? Where are you seeing that? We just got to our highest point on this chart. Everything about this chart moves up from left to right. On the big picture, on the small picture. Now, it just made a big move. So the fact that it's like starting to ease a little bit, I would be like, yeah, it looks like it looks like it hit some buyer fatigue, ran out of steam. Now the sellers are just sort of testing, maybe a little profit taking. That's what I would say I see. Now, I would say, oh, well, there is a big volume day yesterday. Well, there was a big volume day the day before. Up one, down one. We right? That's how it goes for us. That's not going to drop my score. Now, if today is a negative day, and then that's what finishes the week, maybe that would bring us back to a neutral score on volume, right? Maybe, but not yet. That hasn't happened yet. Is any of this in jeopardy? Is any of this in jeopardy? Well, we just got here and we're pulling back. So is our score going to drop? No, we're just looking to see we're looking for a higher low. We just don't know where that's going to come. So that's not going to drop our score. The only thing that might drop our score from a short term is we might measure this and say, you know what? That looks like a 1.5. And in that case, nothing happened that triggered the drop. It's just that as we've been giving plus quarter points and minus quarter points as buyers and sellers accomplished various things, we found ourselves just a little higher than we ultimately feel the actual trend line is. Then great, we'll make that adjustment. But that's not the market weakening. That's us adapting our score to what the market is doing. So long-term score, nothing. Now, same thing. We're a little bit. There's two parts. In the trend scoring where if it doesn't start accelerating soon, we'll say, you know what? It's hard to justify giving this thing a 1.75. That's the green lines. We haven't gotten up near the top of those. We're still in that range, but it seems like we're veering out of that range and we would need to reassess and say, oh, you know what? Now we're probably going to give it a 1.5. So the only scoring changes I see are organic ones that are ones we've been talking about for a couple of weeks even, and they still haven't come to fruition yet. So fundamentally, long-term trend, short-term trend, and volume, as of now, are not disrupted. They're fine. Right? We are still wait and see, like Lee said, but I'm feeling all right. Let's quickly just take a peek at the ES before the market opens, see where it's at. I mean, we're down 0.22. We're actually still inside of yesterday's range, right? Yesterday we were lower than this. We're just kind of sitting here. So if this thing, back here we pulled back even more than this. So if we pulled back to, let's say 56.75 on these futures is the level. If we pulled back to this level here, would we be like, oh my God, the sellers are in control? No, we'd be like, oh look. Old resistance, becomes new support over here. And as it stabilizes, that's definitely where we'd be looking to take a trade. So nothing that happened yesterday. You know that the market is notorious for overreaction. So always remember that. Okay. 1 minute away from market opening. Let's take a look at the VIX. So the VIX, I mean, we kind of knew, right? Once we saw that day on Monday, we're like, okay, are we going to get our lower high that's going to show us bullishness? But then the news didn't cooperate, right? The news didn't cooperate. We got new news and it pushed it up to here. You can see where are we set. So let's talk about the VIX for just a minute, because this is a level where I'm going to probably allow some discretion to come into play. And I'm not going to call it a higher high, even though we're like, as of now, if it holds this area, that high right there is where we finished yesterday. So we went higher than that, but came back. We're a little higher than that now. If we hold under 20, I'm just going to kind of like give it a mulligan, so to speak, where I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to call this a same high, not a higher high. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. There's our opening bell. Now we're transitioning out of the futures into the market. Miguel said, hoping non-farm payrolls might help. Market picks and chooses news. It definitely feels like that at times, doesn't it? I agree with that. Okay, so let's go take a quick peek at the SPY. Then we'll get to our watch list. I mean, for me, this is the kind of signal where something happens and everyone just is like, oh, I don't know. And then things will take off. And if people stop out and don't get back in, or if they, don't look at potentially taking trades, they're like, I can't take a trade into this news. I got to see how this plays out. Well, that's fine, but it could easily make its next run as this plays out. So, okay. Let's go look at did we get to everything here? What do we have on the news this day? Today is what? Wednesday? All day? Where did anyone see ADP's report? If anybody saw ADP's report, let me know. So far, manufacturing, a little better than expected. Chicago Business Barometer, a little better than expected. Go Chicago. This manufacturing dropped a little bit. Job openings, stable at 7.7. Oh, no. My chart's off. There's 300,000 extra jobs to be found. We went from 7.7 back to 8 million jobs. That doesn't look like it's weakening. That doesn't feel like it's weakening. This morning, if anyone sees what the ADP reports were, let me know. Let's get to it. All right, that's slow today. I don't know why. Let's get to the watch list. Let's get to the watch list. Over. They had stronger than expected ADP. Thank you, Miguel. Expecting 124. Came back near 150. Remember, 150 is maintenance or slightly above. We maintain the employment levels we have. If we start consistently putting up only 70 to 100,000 jobs a month, that'll be net negative. So yeah. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Apple. We'll start at the top. I think it's a handle. I think it came down, back up, not ready yet. Definitely. If it can bounce off its 50, there's viability for us here. AEP is new. That's a utility. We're just getting acclimated with these. So, right? Just want to watch them for a little while. Figure out which ones are going to stay on the list. Here's Aflac. That one, if you're in, you're probably thinking about tightening and booking some gains. Oh, Amazon. I got an email from Amazon today. Said, "Dear Scott, I hope you enjoyed your last trading experience. We'd like to invite you to prepare again to trade us." They didn't really. I'm just kidding. They should, though. That looks fantastic. It's early in the day. Stochastic starting to turn. We've got this doji followed by what may be an engulfing pattern. This thing may want to make a run up to 200 on its next run, which would be about the right size. So, yeah, I'm not thinking, oh, the despair. I'm thinking, oh, look at this. This looks nice. Let's be ready. AXP. AXP tried this is kind of its last ditch effort if you stayed with this one. This was one that we looked at. We never formalized. But one that we looked at, financials, it's holding. I might still give it the day to see, does it get back up into the upper half of this? Then I maybe will stay with it one more day and then see if it can reemerge. Again, I want to let my market posture at a 5.5 help keep me in positions and not have to take losses. Still in, Bob said, yep. BK. Now, BK and what was the other one? KKR, a couple of regional banks, strong trends, minimal consolidations, definitely setting up for the next trade. Earnings coming up, though. Be careful there. BLDR, signal yesterday. Today, it's holding up a little bit. It's fine. It's the same kind of a thing back here, right? It's going to go. No, it's not. No, yes, no. Boom. I mean, look at this last day right here. Can you imagine if somebody got stopped out right down here, only to the next day watch it gap up and then just go on this run? It's important, right? We can't just think, oh, I'm getting in and now it should bounce right there for me. Yeah, we would like that. And sometimes it does. And sometimes it shakes and hiccups, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit. So we can't look at this and be like, oh, that's it. I'm out of here. Relax. We're 6 minutes into the day. Carrier, nothing yet, but you can see buyers just lurking at any given time in these industrial companies. Caterpillar. I mean, the sellers have had 4 or 5 days. They can't even take profits. It's so high up right now. CL was finito for me. So there was an entry, then there was a hiccup, and after the hiccup, it's like, okay, now we can't really. Now I'm not going to stay with that anymore. So CMG still setting up. Costco's breaking the 50. I said already, I feel like Costco's turned a little sideways. I don't love how it's moving right now. I'm not going to kick it off the list yet, but it's getting close. Here's the Dow, small pullback. Duke Energy, just kind of sideways. There's another one that we found in utilities. Fastenal, I would say, is setting up. Just got back up to this old high. There's your cup. Here's the handle. You know I would trade the handle. However, just be careful about earnings. GBTC, Bitcoin kind of giving the setup. So, I don't know. Is anyone in this? I was just looking at a position here. GEV, another electric. Let's see. Gold. Just kind of float. I was looking for it to set up, but you can see it's already kind of stabilizing. I don't know. That's a maybe. General Motors is kind of flat. Google pulling back. We noticed that these were still pushing a little bit. We weren't like, oh, maybe I still want to see a true consolidation. Home Depot starting to consolidate, maybe. There's the IWM. Let's see. KKR. I mean, that's hard not to look at that. The seller's not doing much. It's getting ready to turn. That is definitely something I'm thinking about as well. So financial, there's some areas in financials. So let's see. It's Coke. Sorry, there's my watch list. I lost it for a second. Coke was grinding along. You can see it's just been kind of a little sideways. That was an alert. If you stayed with it, it's really starting to not pop. So it hasn't broken support. It's still above the 50, but it's right. Yes, Miguel, it's right at this support level. So this is kind of do or die right here. Let's keep an eye on that. MasterCard. Okay. Yeah, you can see this one was showing a little strength that AXP didn't, but now it's kind of losing that. McDonald's pulling back, getting ready for a setup. Meta pulling back, maybe getting ready for a setup. All still making new highs. None of these have broken support. None of these look bad. Look at all these names. It's still sitting up high. But are these trades? No. Oh, Microsoft did not hold the 50. That's okay. I'm going to give it to about right in this area. That's where it broke. Right there. If it can stabilize, I would still trade out of this. If it comes all the way back down to here, we're back in. Like, that's it. It lost its nerve. It's not going to happen for me. NDAQ. Oh, NDAQ was like thinking about it. It was thinking about it. Um, okay. Yeah, the stochastics is still fine. We saw it turn, we saw this engulfing, and so that's where people would be like, yeah, I like that, I'll trade that. And then this happens, and this is a hiccup. So if you didn't trade this, you're waiting for the hiccup. If you traded this, you're in the hiccup, but not bailing on the hiccup. For us, we're not in it, so that's why, right? I'm looking at NDAQ, I'm looking at KKR, I'm looking at Amazon. Let's look at Netflix. Netflix looks strong. Am I wrong? NRG overextended. Nvidia looks like it's setting up. We need something in the tech space. We need something in tech, something in communication services, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, TSM. We need someone to just kind of take the lead. And if we can get technology back in place, everything in the market's going to be in a better place. So I like Nvidia. I think I like TSM better, but that's setting up for me. PEG I like, but it's overextended. This was my favorite of utility stocks that we were able to find yesterday in our working session. We added some. I think we added 5 or 6 or 7. We're going to end up with maybe 3 or 4. Sandy can't see or hear us. That's not great. Okay. PGR, insurance, viable setup. PLTR. PLTR, I liked it. I took it. Coming out of this, it's a little bit of a pause. I'm going to give that some room. I still think that looks fine. QQQ. This to me actually is one of the more favorable things that we're looking at. Is that it's pulling back, but in a very orderly fashion. That to me looks like it's ready to potentially stabilize, bounce off the 50. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to make sure I'm in position for that to happen. Here's our SPY. We started down 0.25%, and now we're down 0.5%. And where are we? You'll notice we're right at yesterday's lows, basically. There's yesterday's lows. We're testing a little lower. We're seeing if it's going to hold up. It's 16 minutes into the day. We're not going to make assessments and judgments at 16 minutes into the day. We can easily recover from this. We could also go down 1% from this. So as Lee said earlier, wait and see is kind of what we're at. But it's a wait and see from a position of strength, meaning I'm waiting and seeing where I'm either going to wait and see and hold a little longer, or I'm going to wait and see and trade. Those are my decisions, to trade or not to trade. And it's not like, do I sell? Do I panic? Do I get rid of everything I'm in? No, it's, do I buy a few more things, or do I hold up? Just wait a little longer. I feel like we're still on high ground. So, yeah. Tesla. Tesla's setting up, if you were watching it and saying, man, oh, there's the cup. Here's the handle. Okay. TSM. There's the cup. There's the handle. Same pattern. Look at how correlated those two are. You guys see that? That's very interesting. TSM and Tesla, very correlated. I like TSM better. I'm going to trade TSM. If TSM bounces off this, that's one that I like. There are setups occurring in our big tech and tech correlated. Apple setting up. Microsoft setting up. Meta setting up. NVIDIA setting up. TSM setting up. I mean, it's a pattern. So we have still strength in financials, strength in consumer discretionary, strength in industrials. We have what looks like setup for strength in technology. That all still is in line with what I would expect at a 5.5 market posture. UMP, dirty dog. You dirty dog, UMP. I'm getting ready. I'm just going to kick it off the list. It's not trying to come back. USB, holding the 50, but there's better. Dollar. Look at the dollar all of a sudden breaking the 50 back to the upside. We'd rather see the dollar staying kind of in a lower position. Here's the VIX. The VIX. Now the VIX looks okay to me. We're not pushing higher. The institutions aren't like, oh shit, now we're really getting scared. They're like, I think we're going to be okay here. Now, it's not going to be a lower high. If we get confirmation tomorrow, if this is a doji today like this, let's just say it closes like this at the end of the day. And then tomorrow we get a down day on the VIX, which means an up day on the market. And it comes down and back here and kind of does one of these where it goes up and comes back down, right? Like this. I want you to look at this here and then what happened and then look at this here. And if we get this coming down on, is that going to be validation for looking to get into some bullish positions? My answer is 100% yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for. VST, overextended. Walmart, still waiting. Let's take a quick look at the X's. XLB. If you're not trading gold, I mean, you could look at materials look strong right now. If this starts to turn back up out of that flag, I might just buy a little XLB. XLC, waiting for maybe a little pullback. XLE. So we saw oil was up today, right? We saw that it was up today, but look at energy. It's not terrible. Let's go actually look at the crude oil futures. Let's go look at the CLs. I mean, the crude oil futures aren't even breaking the 50. Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing it really not that strong at all. Financials still holding up. XLI. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Technology looks like it's getting ready to bounce. Utilities just looks like on a steady pace. And here's discretionary. Discretionary looks strong, right? I would say. I think there definitely looks like strength there. All right, let's keep going. Oh, that's everything. Okay. Questions? Comments? Concerns? An early heat map. We can take a look at an early heat map here. Let's see if I can pull one up here. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get rotation out of a heat map. Heat maps kind of help us see like where the flow is for the day or over a period of time, but it's not as helpful for for rotation. Let's keep going. Energy is an eyesore, right? Okay. Trading plan. This is the last week. We only have until Saturday, and then we're done with this round. And then we have a 2-month rotation working on our trading plan going forward. So get your goals in place. That's what we're working on. Next week, we're starting over at the beginning. Okay. Questions? Are you feeling all right? Are you feeling like you're in a good place? Let me know. Being patient, in a good place when I'm in these meetings. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. All right. Well, what's next? What's next is Glenn will be here in the meetups for the last hour of the day so we can process what's happening, where we're at, what trades we're considering. Yeah, I think we should like where we are, and yeah, we should go from there. So, okay. Okay. Well, then Glenn will see you this afternoon. Then tomorrow evening, he will be there for the first part. I will be there for the second to talk about, some trading foundations. And then that's it. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Good to see you. Let's keep the conversation going. Put some chat in. We said we're all going to start trying to push to have more off-hour communication in Discord. So let's see what we can do. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. As always, happy trading.